here we go. So, so just a short intro. Everybody knows me, but Lynn Lockner, I asked you to come on today and just sharing with everybody that will watch or that is watching the video. We're going to do something very special, but before that, you were in the middle of a sentence, and I interrupted you because I said it would be beautiful to share anything and everything that we communicate about and with each other is always so inspirational and special. I'm like, I wish I could record everything I talk to about you. Like, you know what I mean? I'm getting tangled up in my words. I'm like, my day is like, it's like, you know, like all chopped up in conversations that are so valuable. And I'm like, I need to take like, you know, an Indian to sit down on my blanket and just like, let me recenter myself and process all of the beautiful information coming in. It's kind of like this flow of energy and information, and it's everything feels so aligned and so in flow right now. And then going into this conversation with you, I feel like this is like you're such a present person, and so I'm sorry, I'm a little like all over the place right now, and I'm piecing myself back together while I talk. Anyways, here we are. Yeah. But I did interrupt you in the middle of your sentence.
We have kind of the same colors on. I don't know if you noticed that.
It's true. You just have my stuff striped.
Yes.
I separated your colors.
I've got a little moss agate. What do you wear? What's on?
I have a what is it called? It's not. I think it's obsidian.
Oh, that's gorgeous. Wow.
Yeah, so it has all kinds of different, I forgot what all of these stones are, and then it has a special stone here, and then obsidian with gold. It's really heavy too. Yeah.
Substantial protection. You can feel it around your neck.
Protection stones everywhere.
Yes, me too. Me too. Armed and ready. Yeah. So thank you. Thanks for making this time to connect. Yeah, as I was just telling you, I had an appointment this morning with Dr. Cooper of Cooperstown Chiropractic in, he's near Anaheim. I almost made an extra trip to go see him when I was in Anaheim. But he's a chiropractor and he's a kinesthesiologist. And I was recommended to him for my oldest son. So I guess back up, my name is Lynn. I live in Alaska. And I'm here joining Sophia to talk soup to nuts about healing and truth and all things high vibrational. So welcome and thank you, anyone who's joining us. So I have two children. I have two little boys and two little starseed boys. And my oldest, who is 7, had introduced me to the dark side of Western, and we'll go into that in a separate video. Long story short, he had a cancer diagnosis, and once the cancer was removed from his body completely, and they had tested surrounding lymph nodes, he was cancer free. But they wanted to do 6 months of cleanup chemo. And I simply asked the question, can we not do that? Can we work with a naturopath doctor or a team of naturopath doctors, which I had corralled in the process of everything that we were going through up in Anchorage, Alaska. And I said, well, you know, do some blood work, really get a good alkaline diet going, and you know, get him back to being active and feeling good. And the doctors sitting across from me sat up very straight and said, you have that option. Yes. You cannot do what we're advising as treatment, and we will take you to court and you will lose, and your son will become a ward of the state, and you may not have a chance of getting him back. So you know, if you want to be negligent as a parent and not to do this treatment, then you will lose your son. And at the time I was pregnant with my second son, thankfully, because we were in Anchorage, I was able to find a midwifery to go through my second pregnancy with a very different paradigm. And I found a host of mothers and midwives that were very much sympathetic and knew what was going on. And they connected me with a mother who had gone down that rabbit hole and had said if her children had anything close to that, she would leave the country, like not even get into the doctors here. And now I know why, because once you're in, you are put on this database called Children's Oncology Group. COG is the acronym that they use, a cog in the wheel, and you cannot escape that list. It's worldwide. So, no, and they told me no matter where you go, we'll find you. And the treatment is the same. So they said, you can go to Colorado, which is where I grew up. You can go, you can go to Europe, you can go anywhere you want, but the protocol is going to be the same because they follow the same, just the same, no matter what. And I mean, it was like they're reading my thoughts, because I was like, okay, how long would it take to drive to the border of Alaska and then through Canada? And they said, if you try and leave state, we'll catch you at the border and we'll take your son away from you there. So I will just bookmark it there. We'll come back to that. But long story short, we did have to go through the treatment, and we are 4 years past that date. Now 5 years now, actually. And discovered Dr. Cooper as a result. I met another mother who had a type of similar injury from the Jabberwocky, not the current Jabberwocky, but
Another one,
just a routine. And she recommended this doctor, kinesthesiologist, because he has vials of every single kind of pharmaceutical, every kind of substance out there that he can muscle test you for. And he's had a lot of pediatric patients come to him that the doctors actually turned away, and they're like, we've done everything we can for you. And you're basically going to just pass. You're not going to make it because of this diagnosis. And Dr. Cooper got them on the other side, completely, like full of life and full of hope, and eating normally. Like, he's worked with animals. He works with all ages. He works with little babies and older folks that simply have a goal of becoming more mobile and more active, and he gets them there. So we had an appointment with him this morning to review the supplements that my son is on. And it was a just wonderful call. So he'll have you hold whatever supplement, or if you, or a substance that's in your body, he can find that over the phone, just with simple hand gestures that you're using, and then touching different areas of your head or your body. And it's profound. And then we work with a chiropractor here where we live in Soldotna, Alaska. And we do a cold laser treatment and other just regular adjustments. And basically my son is heavy metal free, toxin free. He's working his way out of headaches, chronic headaches now. And he's doing really good. But Dr. Cooper has been an amazing resource and a huge step up for me in my search for just connecting with natural medicine, connecting with the deeper capacities of our own body to heal. And the supplements that he recommends or that he prescribes are all standard process. They're all made from plants and food. And that is the way that he approaches medicine, is that what we eat and what we do is medicine more than what we can take to, feel better. It's more about our lifestyle. So so he's been amazing. And I went to work with him. It was a year and a half ago, after I had had some exposure to, at least what I didn't know for sure, but I had some family members come to visit that had received the, and I started having the strangest symptoms of like cysts and clots in my chest, in my armpit, and got on the phone with him immediately or as soon as I could, because I was really panicked. And all the other doctors that I was talking to, they were saying kind of scary things. And it was like, I believe that this is something that needs to be eliminated, and my elimination pathways are clogged, or something's going on. And come to find out, when I spoke with him, he said he had so many female patients coming to him with different clotting issues and cysts. And
one of the calls you received from me was with the same symptom, and I knew about your story, and I'm like, if there's anybody that comes to mind immediately that has, not only because, well, first of all, because of your background, sorry for interrupting. First of all, because of your background, your knowledge base, and then your experience, both adding up, like I'm sure I was looking to be pointed to what I could look into to understand what was going on with my body that was reacting in a way that I knew was not right, was not natural. I know my body really well. And I had actually gone to the doctor, like a mainstream doctor, and they all didn't know what to do. They had all no idea what was going on. And it took you half a day, and I was back on track. That's all I'm going to say. So if anybody's curious on what that story is about, maybe we should do another video on that, because that's a very, very much related to our female organs. But that was a big scare and a big relief at the same time. Anyway, sorry for interrupting.
Yep. Well, I would not have had the composure that I did. I might have freaked out a little bit and gotten worried with you, but because I had the experience myself, and then to know that he had all these other female patients, like so many hundreds, that were coming with the same issue, and really odd things were happening with their cycles. Same with me. Either I wasn't stopping, or I wasn't starting on time, or and I've always been just regular, like reliable, and I'm almost to like the minute in the day. I knew when it was coming and when it was. So just to know from him that it was normal, and he did put me on some natural supplements to stop the bleeding, and to also alleviate the symptoms with the cysts and the lumps that were forming around my lymphatic drainage area. And simultaneously, I do a lot of my own foraging for medicine and food up in Alaska. I've learned to do that since moving up here, and discovered the amazing capacities of yarrow, that it grows everywhere, all over the United States, all over the world, and in beautiful varieties of colors. The colors relate to the body in a certain way, to different chakras, so they'll help with clearing, cleaning, and healing different areas of the body that you work with, but also just in the soil that it's in. It's a repairer of the soil. It infuses whatever is needed with what it needs, and it comes back every year, and it comes back stronger every year. Every single part of the plant can be used: the leaves, the roots, the flowers, and I'd always been attracted to them. On some of the bike rides I was taking, I kept seeing pink yarrow, and it was so pink it would get me off my bike. be going along fast, enjoying, and I see this beautiful pink just color, and I had to chase it down. I had to look at it. So got off my bike, took pictures, and just a long time. And then I took a class that really changed my life, that really told me, everything is medicine. Everything outside is medicine. I've been an outdoor enthusiast my whole life. As soon as I could climb 14ers. When I first got invited to, I was 13 years old in Colorado. And that was when I first summited my first 14er. And then just became addicted to being above tree line and being in places where there weren't a lot of people, and it was wild. It was still wild. The animals, the trees, the flora and fauna, the rivers, just all of it was poetry and spoke to my soul from a very young age. And then to take this class at a local bookstore here in where I live in Sterling, Pyewackets is the name of the shop. And the lady just said, whether it's the color, whether it's the shape, whether it's the aroma, or the actual contents of the plant, the oils and just all the components, everything is medicine. And it's all about dosage, how strong you take the medicine, or just all the different ways to consume it or put it on your skin. Everything is medicine. And when I left that class, so deeply touched and so motivated to just start playing and doing research and going out further into the wild and seeing what wanted to work with me, seeing what spoke to me. And in that class, kind of on topic with what we were going to talk about today, one of the ladies asked about Amanita muscaria mushrooms. I don't one that I can show you. Well, yeah,
we'll be able to show in a minute.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
These
that look like this.
Wow.
And I had seen them with my children, and my oldest son was so curious and wanted to pick them and touch them. And they're just fascinating. They're unreal when you see them in the wild. And we never picked one because they looked so potent with something, and I didn't know what. And it was hard to track down, what's the name. Then I started to see them pop up around Christmas time in a lot of artwork and just, cards and books and things. So that's when I first found out about kind of the tradition around Amanita muscaria and the name. They're also known as fly agaric because they were used to kill flies. Flies are attracted to them. Flies consume them and flies die. So people would pick the Amanita muscaria and leave them in a dish with milk, and it would attract the flies, and it would kill the flies. It would get rid of flies.
Wow.
So the name fly agaric comes from.
A whole different kind of bouquet.
Yeah, right. There's so varieties. So there's muscaria, which is the red kind, but there's, just tons and tons. This is a whole book of just the North American agarics. And anyway, it was such a delight to be in that class and be there for that woman's question, because I would have never thought to ask about the amanitas. We just weren't we weren't talking about mushrooms. We were talking about plants. And I was on the edge of my seat waiting to hear her answer. And she was like, absolutely. Medicine goes so far back. It's old medicine. And they're actually quite profound in the ways that they heal. And the woman teaching the class was actually suffering, and she was suffering that day from an aggravated sciatic nerve. And she was having a hard time sitting and a hard time just, holding still and being there. And we could all see it, but she's an amazing teacher. and really inspired all of us. So on my way home, I drove by this patch of amanitas. I got out of my car, I went over on the ground, I knelt down, and I just started talking to them, and I thanked them. And I asked if I could work with them. I asked if they would let me learn the ways to make healing medicine with them, if they would teach me. And I just left it at that. And then that night I went on a walk with my dog, and I had my headlamp on. We were going through a grove of birch trees, and I saw the most remarkable vision I've ever seen, really, in my whole life. I've never seen anything like it. They were sporulating in this little grove, and it looked like angels. It looked like you could see these white shifting forms, moving and dancing and waltzing and in amongst the trees and each other. And I just knew that was confirmation. They were saying yes. They were like celebrating that I was willing to come and work with them, because they have the medicine for the human brain like no other plant, and for pain management and healing of trauma, which I believe is so apropos for our times, for what we're living in. And I also study astrology, and have been studying astrology through these past 3 years. And I find it very, very, very significant that we're in the midst of our Pluto return in the United States. And Pluto rules Scorpio, and Scorpio is where the South Node is currently housed. And so we're being asked to move out of our trauma. We're being asked to go into the things that we've hidden deeply inside of ourselves, and just bring our awareness to them. It's very simple. It doesn't require psychotherapy necessarily, but just bringing your own awareness to what has hurt you so deeply is the beginning of alchemy and the beginning of healing. And I truly believe we are our own medicine when we have the right tools, when we have the right awareness, and when we know how remarkably we've been made and our connection not only to this earth, elementally, but also to all of the heavenly bodies. We literally have the same elements in our body, in the chakras that are represented in the cosmos. And so I just believe we're so special as the human race. We're so gifted, and what has been given to us that has hurt us is actually a tool to become powerful, to know love like you've never known it before, for yourself and for your relations. But I think, especially the Amanita medicine is, I just want to get it out there. I want people to know about it. I want people to know that there is an option with all the benzodiazepines that are so freely assigned and prescribed to people for depression and anxiety. There is a natural substance that actually is healing. It's not a Band-Aid. It doesn't just make you feel better. It will help you heal. It will help you be present with yourself, with your past, with your future. You can feel safe in your body and feel safe in your breath. And I think this is such an old medicine. I feel like Spirit keeps giving me more and more to work with this mushroom and with other herbs as well. There have been a bunch that I've discovered up here that in all of the modern herbal Bibles, they're said to be toxic and invasive. And in the old like Culpeper herbal book that I have. Actually, they're all of the ones that now are bad and invasive are anti-parasitic. And when it all boils down, everything, all chronic issues are a result of parasites. So I believe they've made a lot of plants to be out to be, like get them out of your soil, get them out of your garden. They'll come back and they'll wreak havoc and they won't let anything else grow. Dandelions included. Dandelions are one of the most profound medicines out there for everything under the sun. They're one of the first plants to appear at the equinox, at the spring equinox. They're one of the first things to emerge and feed animals and other plants and the soil. And they're one of the first things to go when people start working on their lawn. So, yeah, okay.
No, this has been perfect because I was just thinking about the word esoteric, and I would like to quickly mention that word because it means ancient knowledge, old wisdom. And so many things have been distorted to make us believe something is bad, which is actually meant for us to look into. So that's what's happening now. It's like, nope, those times are over where we are going to walk around with the hoodie on wrong. Like, let's turn the hoodie around.
I love that. Yes.
Yeah, you can put the hoodie on your head. Just wear the hoodie right way round, right? Like, I think we've had enough time to understand that what's been happening is not working for us. So now it's like, what does work for us? And when you were talking about alchemy, the word that notion came to me of, in Japan, they have this art called kintsugi, where when something breaks, do you know that?
No. Oh, and you put it back together.
Yeah. So when pottery or something breaks, they honor it and they put it back together, but with gold. So it has like art, like gold veins going through the pottery, becomes more beautiful. And they honor something. They honor the process of putting something back together with love and with value. And I was just thinking of that's kind of like what we're all doing, and we're not coming out of this unharmed in form of no scars inwardly and outwardly. It doesn't mean we're not becoming greater in the process and more valuable. And I was just thinking of that concept and how fitting that feels. I wanted to show a box to everybody. So here, I don't want to reveal your address, but what I did notice though was your handwriting. Where'd that come from? Like, you have a really beautiful handwriting.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I think it looks a lot like my grandmother's, who I just adore. She was my favorite.
You were so generous to send me this box after I was complaining about all my reactions that I've been having due to some strange things that have been happening. So you sent me this box. It took a while to get here because of, I guess, the craziness. But I wanted to actually unbox it with you and then have you explain what's in it for everybody. I have promised to be on a call in 20 minutes, and we'll have to make I believe we're going to have a lot more of these kind of conversations where we're going to be able to share things with people who I think will value this very much, this exchange. I've said this before, I really feel like you, for me, I'm like, why are you not in an apothecary managing, like, you need an apothecary. You are an apothecarian. And anybody who doesn't know what that means, please Google apothecary. It's something that in Germany, because I lived there for over 30 years, you have like 20 to 30 in a normal town. And yeah, and you go in, and the first thing, if it's a good apothecary, the first thing they'll tell you, and they're different, they're almost doctors. So you go through an extensive training to become an apothecarian. And the first thing they'll usually do is when you come in with, if you come in with a headache, you'll often hear them say, how much water have you been drinking recently? They will not give you aspirin. They're like, how much water have you been drinking? Are you dehydrated? Do you want do you want a glass of water and sit down? So they approach the whole health topic from a different standpoint. And they will often, before they give you anything big pharma, they will give you something herbal, something natural. And they also say that, or they'll ask you, sometimes they won't, but it all depends on the apothecarian. But I came here to the States and I'm like, I actually became really disoriented. Like I've been here since August, and it's completely disoriented me because I'm used to knowing where to go to get what. And now I'm like, I have to rebuild everything. I have to connect to people who have knowledge, because the system is destructive to humans. I can't say it any other way.
It is. Well, you experienced that, have things, whole hospital paradigm. I mean, it's almost like their fingers, this is wrong and this is wrong. Let's look at this. Let's look at this, instead of the whole person, instead of the soul, the emotion, body, all of it connected. They point. And when they point, like I studied healing touch and Reiki, and there's a lot of power in that point. There's a lot of power. I tell my boys how you are creating something when you point. There's energy, and it's all like coming to a point through your finger. You're creating a laser basically. And
yeah,
medical world looks at things is in points and localization, and not as a whole.
Yeah.
Holistic. Exactly. So I can only imagine what that's been like coming from Germany. I studied in, that's one of our connections. I studied in Germany when I was finishing up college, and I got my degree in German. This was a long time ago, so I don't speak it anywhere close to how well I used to speak before, but I still dream, and I when we converse, I converse in German before I put it in English. I love to play with the words. I love German. But yeah, there are all these little townships set up, and little just places you can go where you can get everything.
Yes,
the baker,
and every apothecary, they have a list, and they're like, these are closing times. Look, Germany has different like opening and closing hours than the US. They have family protective time, and so they're like, okay, closed. But for an emergency, this is the apothecary to go to, and they'll have emergency opening times, like they're 24/7. They'll be open, and then you just ring the doorbell, and somebody will come and help with whatever it is that you need before you have to, call and for an emergency or something. So often, because they are so trained, they're so knowledgeable, and a lot of the times you have doctors there too. They will really be able to help you with whatever it is you have, and if not, they'll tell you this is beyond. You need to go to the whatever, urgent care or something. But it's just cool to be. It just makes you, it's a different level of safety that you have when you go into a place like that, where the system's not against, well, they're influenced too, but less.
Yeah.
I was so fascinated. I had a conversation today with Brad Wozny, and I was talking to him about something about healing frequencies, and he's like, oh, are you talking about bioresonance? And I'm like, oh, finally, somebody who's heard about bioresonance. It's like almost nobody in the US knows about it yet. And it's very common in Europe. And that technology is, a lot of doctors are using it and get even more exact results for a blood panel than you can actually get when you draw blood. And it's so these things are just not known. And I think for Americans, a lot of what is normal in Europe at this point, has become mainstream, is futuristic, but it's here. It's just because it's suppressed.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyways, box.
Yeah.
I want to look into this box. Maybe I should read the notice after, like not out loud.
Sure.
Not gonna read the notice out loud, but let's open it up and look at the card. Thank you so much.
One of the big reasons, I mean, after getting videos, like, yes, that's a local artist in Alaska that she does fantastical paintings that are just incredible. Yeah, so I had to, but I wanted to get yarrow right away. I wanted to, yarrow is a styptic herb, so it occludes, it stops bleeding internally as well as
Externally, right?
externally. Yeah.
Well, I told my mom, and she said, well, I think I still have yarrow. If not, I'll just go out and pick some. I'll find some. And I'm like, really? I didn't know.
It is so common and it's so easy to find everywhere. We were just watching an episode of Yellowstone and my husband, like, there's yarrow there. Yeah. Okay. So that's what she's holding up is the Amanita ambrosia tincture. And it's a concentration of amanita in organic grape juice. I came across this recipe this summer and tried making it, and it's not delicious. It's self-propagating. So once you make this, you have it continues making itself basically in the solution of grape juice, and it keeps ever. So I think this is my favorite way to work with amanitas. I do make a tea that I microdose, and I make tinctures, double extract that is, it's made from a very high concentrated tea, as well as I add a solution of vodka that's been infused with the amanitas. And there are amanitas, yes.
Oh, they're so delicate. Don't want to break them, but I want to show one. Like the colors are so amazing. Let me get one out so I can hold it up. The colors are fascinating. It's almost like fluorescent. I don't know, like, so I don't know if you can see it, but they kind of like, they shine. It's hard to see.
Yes.
But they have this shiny thing to them. They're so I want some kind of car. I want my car to look like this.
I know, right? Like the enamel, there is like an enamel on them.
How valuable. This is a lot. And this is like, and yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
They're packaged like this, like airtight.
Vacuum sealed.
Yeah, vacuum sealed.
It's important to keep them dry, and that's why I package them like that. Because once rumor has they start to absorb any moisture, the ibotenic acid content goes down, which is one of the active ingredients that you're wanting to work with to decarboxylate to muscimol. But in experience, if they get a little moisture, just put them back in the dryer or put them in the oven on a really low setting. I'll share that with you.
Yes.
So
You'll have to give me like guidelines to how to because a couple of these are open. I think they open, so I'll have to understand how to reseal them or something, or how to, maybe I can put them in a mason jar or something like that. But there's air in there too. There's air in a mason jar too.
Well, that's how I store mine before
I'll do that.
And you want to get a wide mouth mason jar so that they stay intact. The more they fall apart, the more they crumble, again, the more the properties start to fall apart. So you just want to try and, like, I don't ever powder these. A lot of people will grind them up into a powder that you can use with that in oil. You can make tea with that, but I like using the whole mushrooms as much as I can. I like to see, because like the more orange ones are either Persicina or Gasawi is the variety of agaric that they are. Oh, my cat's outside in the snow. I gotta go get him. He loves to go outside, and then all of a sudden he's like, I changed my mind.
I get it.
Jumped up and tapped the window. sweet little thing. So the Persicenas and the Gasawis, the more orangey ones, are supposedly stronger. They're supposedly like way more, I don't know that it's stronger ibotenic acid, but there's something that makes the tea stronger when you're using these. So I just like to be able to keep them whole, so I know that I'm using a mixture, that I don't have all Gasawi, or I don't have all Persicina, or I don't have all Amanita muscaria. But you can powder these and then store them, and then put a desiccant packet in there to absorb the moisture. But
Well, you know what we could do? I feel like we should do a part 2 where you explain this to me, and then we could also record that for anybody who wants to know, and anybody who wants to know how to contact you, please send me what you'd like me to share. I'll put it in the video below. And I just had this, like, I'm licking it off my fingers. This is yarrow honey. So this is like, did you make this?
yes, I did.
Oh.
So I took a ton of yarrow, and then I took a local honey, my favorite here. Eventually, when we get this started, have local honey from all over, and yarrow infused local honey for everybody. But you can put it in tea. You can take it in a spoonful if you have a sore throat, any kind of swollen anything. It's going to like just take all the moisture out, basically.
I just have an idea, Lynn.
Go ahead. Yes.
The concept of an apothecary we could take into a virtual one, which is how to set up your own personal home apothecary. And you could teach people how to do that the same way I did the interview yesterday with the Food Forest Abundance. What they do is they teach people all over the world how to use their garden to plant food long-term, not short-term. And I believe that that is something that basically every good German household has a home, like a household apothecary with the most important things. Why not?
That.
Let's start this. I mean, I'm going to support you. This is you. Just an idea, like, think about it.
I love it. I love it, because I don't want to be the keeper of any of it. I want to teach so people can go make their own. And
I want to learn how to do this kind of honey. This is amazing. I want to, like, that's what I mean, though. And it goes, an apothecary is also the, you're connecting. So food is medicine, right? And so if you have medicine, then you have food. And then we can even set up a collaboration, maybe. And I'd love to set up a call with Food Forest Abundance and have, the people that know them know you, and vice versa. So we kind of like, we fuse together, because we meet in the middle, and we need both. So if food is medicine, then we need to understand how is food medicine. And it's yes. My mind is going off in all directions, and I think maybe it was the honey. It did something to me. So let's have a next, let's sit with this thought, especially you. But I think that the concept of Find Your Mentor too is helping people around the world have free access to knowledge. So if people around the world could have access to your kind of knowledge and understand how to set up their own set of healing products for themselves, and understand how to, it's not about getting healthy, it's about staying healthy. We shouldn't be aging the way we are. This is not supposed to be where our DNA is designed to there's a lot of theories out there, but there's also a lot of scientific proof that our bodies are designed so that we can become much, much older. And I know that goes against the grain of a lot of people's morality. I don't want to go there. I don't want to touch on any comfort zones right now. But our DNA is capable of so much more than what we are, what we're experiencing because of our level of, or our lack of knowledge. So if we can have access to instructions on how this body, technology, machine works and what it needs, to stay healthy. And many people haven't detoxed once in their life. You know, there's so many things where you could start and stop, and there's like, so, but there's probably basics to understanding, first of all, understanding what is an apothecary, but then it's basically like you have like a little designated area in your house where you have healing products, you know, and that can start off with a Band-Aid and it can end with, you know, yarrow, tea. Yeah.
You can put that on anything, it'll stop bleeding. You can put it on a blemish. You can consume it, put it on your feet. I mean, it's the possibilities are endless, and the ways to use yarrow and the ways to access the medicine and all the things, it's endless. So we can absolutely have so many more calls about this and more. It's amazing and fantastic, and what a pleasure, and I'm so humbled and so grateful.
Me too. Please send me everything that I can attach to this video. I'm going to upload it this evening.
Okay, deal.
Thank you very much. Let's text and see when we can do a next, like a part 2 and sequence.
Okay, sounds great.
Thank you.
I'm up. Yeah, have a great day.
Have a beautiful day. Thank you.
Thank you. You too. Here.
Bye.
Bye.